are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The results are in, and your San Antonio Spurs will be selecting at number 9 at the NBA 2022 draft. Welcome to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kens 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. And yeah, by now you know what's going on. These Spurs are pretty much going to pick where all the numbers are showing. They're going to get number 9, and we're going to be reacting to that. What does this mean for the Spurs? What should the Spurs do with 3 first-round picks? Is trading some of the young guys on the table to move up in the draft? And what are some names we should be looking at if the Spurs just stand pat at number 9? And we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. That guy that you're hearing right now on the other end, who's taking a nice brisk walk right now, he is Michael Jimenez of San Antonio Sports Star. Mike, is this how you get your exercise in, or are you just blowing off some steam because you thought the Spurs were going to vault into the top 5?
Dude, normally I go for a jog, but right now I just need to walk this off. It had gone chalk 10 through 14. You know, no one had jumped ahead of the Spurs, and I had done the math before, been up to the top 4. But if it went chalk 10 through 14, it was basically a 1 in 3 chance. I stood up, was so excited, like I was ready to pump my fist. And then you saw the Spurs logo, and it's like womp womp. They're drafting at 9, so a little frustrated.
Yeah, it is a little frustrating. By the way, make sure to follow Jimenez on Twitter at MikeESPNSA. He is a host of Halftime, and he'll talk to you more about that later on the show. Let's dive into it. Number 9, it is what it is. I think the universe was screaming it's going to be number 9 leading up to that announcement because it was Tony Parker's birthday, number 9. Spurs had a 50% shot at landing number 9. They sent number 50 himself, David Robinson. And oh, by the way, they're going to be celebrating their 50th anniversary next season. Yeah, those were the numbers. But hey, I looked at some of the names taken at 9 in drafts past. Talk about names like Dirk Nowitzki, DeMar DeRozan, Andre Iguodala. The list goes on and on. I think, I think number 9 is not bad, Jimenez. Why does the vibe feel like Spurs fans are disappointed? I mean, number 9 is a top 10 pick, the highest pick they've had since Tim Duncan.
Because it brings up those memories of that debate as to whether or not it was important for the Spurs to make the play-in tournament. It brings up that debate all over again because, the Spurs had a better chance of moving up in the draft if they finished 6th or 7th with the 6th or 7th worst record in the league. And at 9, not a bad place, man. Historically, there's been some good players drafted at 9. It's been a while. Yeah, there have been some good players drafted at number 9 in the past, typically from the years 2000 to about 2012. You had some all-stars that were drafted in that time frame. So it's just one of those things where, you can get a good player. So I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but I was just looking forward to the opportunity of the Spurs getting a Banchero or a Jabari Smith or a Chet Holmgren or a Jaden Ivey, because you have those fantasies. You start thinking about it, and it just didn't happen. But as far as being disappointed that it's at number 9, it's just one of those things where it's just, was that play-in tournament really that important? And it brings up that whole debate all over again because, when it was all said and done, it really wasn't that important. The Spurs didn't get anything out of that game. And the Spurs are drafting at 9 as opposed to 7.
Was Team Tank vindicated last night?
Yeah. It's a soft vindication. Okay. I think what makes it easier for the Spurs right now is knowing that the Spurs have the number 20 and 25 pick behind that 9 spot. Makes it easier to swallow. But Team Tank was vindicated because take a look. I mean, I know Orlando wanted. Orlando was not supposed to. But look who's taking around 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's the ones that tanked. And no one wants to have that conversation because I'm going to hear it all over again. That's not the Spurs way. That's not the way to do it. But, I mean, if you want a top pick, that's unfortunately what you need to do to make it happen.
With Michael Jimenez right here on Locked On Spurs, and we're reacting to the Spurs officially picking at number 9 as of now. Jimenez has a lot to talk about when it comes to possibly trading the pick and some of the young core right now. Let's dive into that right now. The reaction to a lot of the Spurs fan base were like, "Oh, get Ivy, get Duran, get Eason." Maybe Banchero will fall. But Jimenez, I think you want to make it clear that to move up in those slots to get that, or at least to get that type of player, you might have to pay a pretty penny, don't they? That they being the Spurs.
Right. So there are about 6 players that for sure will not be there. Okay. So those are Holmgren, Jabari Smith, Paulo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, and I would probably say Shaden Sharp. They're not going to be there. Okay. So now, will somebody fall to the Spurs? It's quite possible. But as far as like trading up, depends on where you want to trade to. If you want to go a couple of spots, you can probably get rid of the 20 pick and move up 2 spots. Maybe go from 9 to 7. If you want to get in the top 4, you got to say bye to Vassell or Keldon, because that's what it's going to take.
Is GM Michael Jimenez willing to do that?
In a way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make a splash, and if you fall in love with a particular player and think they have a high ceiling, then of course you do it. I would do that for the top 4 players. I wouldn't do that for anybody who's considered to be second tier right
now. Yeah. I look at the draft, and it's a good draft. And it's really good. But is it top heavy? Will there be an impact player at 9 if the Spurs keep it, or will there be a good player that the Spurs may need to groom a bit in Austin? Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Well, there's a lot of good players that are going to be available at 9 if the Spurs just stay put at where they are. I like Johnny Davis. I think he's a fantastic shooting guard. His comparisons are to like players like Manu Ginobili. That's not bad. I know Arizona's Benedict Mathurin will probably be available around 9. You take a look at Griffin from Duke. He could be available at that point as well. There's a lot of decent players that are available at the 9 spot. Terry Eason, power forward from LSU, can be there as well. One of those guys will be there at 9. We know that for sure. But then there's all these other project players out there that the Spurs might fall in love with. You never know. They fell in love with Joshua Primo. He was somebody that no one in the Spurs fandom, Spurs Twitter, was looking at as a possibility. We were looking at a lot of other players. But suddenly, you heard these rumblings that Oklahoma City, like Joshua Primo, wanted to take him at 16, and the Spurs grabbed him earlier. He came out of nowhere. I remember when that name was called, I was like, what? I hadn't even been following Alabama basketball. Who are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So it was difficult, watching the draft last year. But now with a top 10 pick, I don't think you can really take that big of a leap at 9. You kind of need to take a quality player that can help right away. That's why I look at like a Johnny Davis and Terry Eason. I think those 2 are probably my favorites as of right now, of who's probably going to be available.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's one of those things. I was taking a look at historically, what does it take to move up in the draft? And really, there's only 2 in the last 3 or 4 years where this really happened. You saw that trade between Atlanta and Dallas between, when they had Trae Young and Luka Doncic.
Yep.
Dallas traded 2 first-round draft picks. They're 5 and another one to get up to 3 to take Luka. They did a good job with that, right?
Paid off a lot, didn't it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for them, but that is big. And you take a look at others. You've seen teams trade 2 first-round draft picks, like maybe I believe there was one recently that was like an 8 and a 17 that Atlanta also did that moved up to 6.
Yeah.
So they traded number 17 pick to move up 2 spots. Yep. So the idea that the Spurs are going to get rid of the 20 pick and the 25 pick, or one of them, in order to move into the top 4 is completely unrealistic.
He is Michael Jimenez with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on Twitter at MikeESPN. And in case you're wondering what Mike is doing right now, he is out for a walk.
Does it sound that way?
Yeah, it really does. So, but keep it a good time, because I want to talk to you and everybody about Athletic Greens. If you're looking to stay in shape, shed some pounds, that's where Athletic Greens comes in. it's something I started taking literally every day. It tastes really good. It has a very tropical punch vibe to it. And AG1, let me tell you right now, it tastes great. It's super healthy for you. It has 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, and you're absorbing all that good stuff into your body. And what a way to start your day right. That special blend of ingredients supports gut health, the nervous system, immune system, energy, focus, recovery, aging, all those things in just one delicious drink. What you pretty much do is you get a little scoop of powder, dump it in about 8 to 10 ounces of water, chug it down, and guess what? You don't have to be taking tons of vitamins all day. You took care of all of that in just one delicious drink of AG1. Now, it's lifestyle friendly. If you're on the keto diet, paleo diet, vegan diet, whatever, it will help you. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything. It tastes good. It has pretty much a year's. Well, if you get the subscription, you get a year's supply of vitamin D, which is important to add in these in the months ahead. Yeah, it is just good for you. It costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, cheaper than a cold brew habit. And Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover. And it cost him $100 a day. Don't do that. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews and has donated, that being AG1, over 1.2 million meals to kids in 2020. Right now, reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop of it in a cup of water every day. That's it. You don't have to be taking tons of pills and supplements to look out for your health. Right now, you want to go to athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And like I said, just go to athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional assurance. athleticgreens.com/NBA network. We are back, and we're talking about the Spurs getting the number 9 pick. Hey, that's what they were going to get. The odds were showing it, and they got that. But we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every day. Check out Locked On NBA Big Board. Host Rafael Barlow from NBA Draft Junkies and author of the NBA Big Board newsletter is joined by Richard Stamen, Sam Ferris, and Leif Thulin, giving fans an in-depth look into the NBA draft, mock draft, that's important right now, player rankings, and, of course, Big Boards. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. Michael, I want to talk to you about this. Number 9 at the top 10 pick, the highest pick they've had since Tim Duncan. The Spurs historically, they haven't hit home runs. And just look at Luka Samanic, but for the most part, they hit home runs. If they stay at 9, are you confident they'll hit a home run at 9?
I'd be happy with a double or triple. I'm not non-confident. I know that's not a phrase or a word.
Sure.
But taking a look at the Spurs, you're right. They typically do a really good job with player development, but beyond player development, it's identifying the talent. Spurs did this in the past, by picking Kawhi Leonard, for example, getting him in that draft day trade with Indiana. So it is possible for the Spurs to identify somebody that they really like and develop them. At number 9, there's a lot of options available to them. When you take a look at it right now, there's maybe 4 or 5 that are considered to be in the tier 1, tier 2 category. But from 6 to 15, it's all in the eye of the beholder as to whether or not this is somebody that you want to draft or develop. I don't see much difference, honestly, between somebody who's picked at 6 and 12 and 15. Because of that, I think it's important for the Spurs to maybe look at packaging the 20 and 25 to see if they can get up to 16 again or get up to 15, especially if there's somebody that they love that's still on the board.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of names out there. We kind of highlighted a few earlier, Duran, Eason. But, Spurs fans definitely have their, thoughts on this. And I'm going to throw out some names that Spurs fans have mentioned that the Spurs should target with that number 9 pick. Ivy. Do you think Ivy will be on the board at number 9?
Dude, I would have taken Ivy at number 3. He's not going to be there. No way in the world he's going to be there.
All right. Duran. Is Duran the most sensible pick for the Spurs if he's there?
You talking about Jalen Duren?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Duran. Sorry, I keep on saying Duran.
Okay, yeah, center for Memphis.
Correct.
I mean, that's not a bad pick. I mean, it really isn't. I mean, if you're drafting for quote unquote need, and you take a look at the fact that the Spurs only have 1 year left on contract with Jakob Poeltl, so Poeltl's entering a contract year. Because of that, the Spurs do need not only a 4, but potentially a 5 for the future. So that wouldn't be that bad of a pick either.
Mathurin is another name that Spurs fans want to see the Spurs grab at number 9.
Yeah, Arizona shooting guard. Gonna be honest with you, I haven't fallen in love with him yet. Everyone talks so highly of him. I know at the station, Rob Thompson is a huge fan of Mathurin, huge fan. And I keep on telling him, I'm like, man, whenever I watch games or whenever I watch highlights of Arizona, I didn't really feel it. But apparently he's explosive, and apparently he's got that shot and can develop it even better and become a deadly shooter. So he's possibly going to be available at that time. I would not be surprised. Not a bad pickup either. And that's why I'm saying a lot of these players are pretty much at the same level. It's all about the development.
Another name that Spurs fans would like to see wearing silver and black next season, Jeremy Sochan. I can never pronounce that last name. Sochan, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sochan. Yeah, out of Baylor. Another big, a power forward. I know you're going to react to the Jeremy's name right now, but I think the Spurs really need to consider, if they stay at 9, to get a quality big. Again, no knock on Poeltl. He's good. It's just not enough yet.
The problem with Sochan is the fact that he's going to be in Austin for 2 years. The guy is considered to be one of the most raw talents out there in the draft. And because of that, you hear the word raw, that means you're going to Austin. That's exactly what that means.
Yeah.
But it could be something that, just like with Joshua Primo, it's something that you develop over the course of 3 years.
Yeah, you think the Spurs should consider, again, we're just speculating that the Spurs will stick to 9 as of right now. There's still a lot of time ahead before the draft. But how much should the Spurs use Austin next season? Should they send their pick, number 9 pick, to Austin? I mean, that's what they do. The only time they never don't do that if your name is Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, that level. But, number 9 pick, would you be surprised to see the Spurs say, you know what, number 9 pick, go to Austin. We'll see you in a couple months.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Spurs have a lot of different things that they need to take care of, a lot of loose ends to tie up. One of them is going to be Lonnie Walker. What are they going to do with Lonnie Walker? He's an unrestricted free agent. They didn't extend him. Are the Spurs going to want to keep him or not? What are the Spurs going to do with Jakob Poeltl? Again, career, he's on a contract year. Keldon Johnson is in a contract year. You've got to take a look at Josh Richardson, who I fell in love with in the 21 games he played with the Spurs. What's going to happen with him? And you take a look at all that, and that all plays a role into the draft, because let's say the Spurs draft Johnny Davis, right? Spurs draft Johnny Davis, shooting guard, and if the Spurs are loaded at shooting guard, well, then he can, just ship him off to Austin, have him get seasoned over there.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Spurs are low on shooting guards and draft him, well, then you kind of have to keep him around. And right now, what I don't want to hear from Spurs fans is, well, we got Primo, so therefore we shouldn't go after a shooting guard. No, you draft the best player that's available to you.
Yeah.
Whoever you think is the right one, whoever's on your board as the top one with the highest ceiling, that's the one you go for. And Spurs fans, if you want to move up into the top 4, you got to get rid of Vassell or Keldon. That's what it's going to take. But if you're not going to do that, then you have to look at the fact that there's nobody on the Spurs team right now who's irreplaceable. Maybe DeJounte Murray is irreplaceable at this point, but everybody else could be traded.
Absolutely. He is Michael Jimenez with San Antonio Sports Star. We're talking about the Spurs landing at number 9 as the universe screamed out loud yesterday heading into the 2022 NBA. But before we continue, I want to talk to you about Built Bar. Built Bar has a new bar. It's called the Birthday Cake Puff. It's really good. It really tastes like a birthday cake batter, but it's good for you. It's not a candy. It's not bad for you. Jimenez could be eating it right now on his walk, and it'd be fine. It's 150 calories, 16 grams of protein. It's exactly what you want in your body. You don't want a candy bar, which is over like 200 calories. It's just full of stuff you don't want. Get yourself a Built Bar or a box of Built Bars right now and get the birthday cake puff. I just got my box the other night. I never had anything like this. I've been downing them almost, at least 2-3 a day. They're really good. I forget that I'm eating a healthy bar because I think it's a candy, but it doesn't have all the bad qualities of a candy bar. Covered in 100% chocolate, and that's real 100% chocolate there, not that fake stuff, with just a limited time flavor. So you want to get on this right now. And by the way, that 100% chocolate on those birthday cake puffs, that's 100% white chocolate. You're going to love it. It has sprinkles as well. All Built puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means that with Built, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. They got collagen protein. It's going to absorb into your body faster, more efficiently, and it gives you a lot of health benefits. Go to Built.com, get yourself the birthday cake puffs now. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15, 15% off your order. Promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. And also, this episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing models and makes of vehicles, it's impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Look, you got a computer at home, you got a laptop, you got a desktop, you got a cell phone. Go to rockauto.com right now and check out their selection. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today. Find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your truck or car. When you go there, write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. An amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need, rockauto.com. Let's go to wrap up our chat with Michael Jimenez right here on Locked On Spurs. And, look, you had, maybe a little over 10 hours since the news or the results came in. How is Michael Jimenez feeling about the Spurs at 9?
Well, I think ultimately I'm still optimistic about things. Okay, don't get me wrong. Would have liked 1, 2, 3, or 4. But in the grand scheme of things, I think the Spurs are in a very good position right now because the draft capital. Spurs now have the 9, 20, and 25 pick. We now know where we are. If you want to move up, we now know exactly how much it's going to cost to move up. Secondly thing is that the Spurs have good expiring contracts in Josh Richardson, good expiring contract in Jakob Poeltl, that if the Spurs wanted to trade them away, could trade them away. Spurs have non-guaranteed contracts that they could get rid of and maybe only pay a portion of if they want to get rid of Zach Collins or Trey Jones, other players like that.
Right.
Spurs also have a team option on Romeo Langford. So the Spurs could recoup, $5-6 million right there. And because of that, along with all the cap space the Spurs already have, they can make a push to a star player in free agency, maybe an unhappy player out there like DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix. So ultimately, I'm very optimistic, and it's because Brian Wright is at the wheel. Cannot believe I'm saying this. After all this time,
I cannot believe you said that. Get out.
He proved to me in January and February when he got rid of Bryn Forbes, got some draft capital out of that, got rid of Thad Young, he got a first-round draft pick, got rid of Derek White, got a first-round draft pick and Josh Richardson. He proved to me that he's willing to wheel and deal. He's willing to make some offers out there. And that's something that we haven't had in a long, long time with the Spurs. I'm very optimistic because the Spurs have the draft capital, the salary cap flexibility, and have cap space. So this is a great offseason for the Spurs. I'm very, very optimistic.
I'm right there with you. I am also optimistic. Yeah, of course, I was kind of hoping the basketball gods would smile on San Antonio last night. But, hey, it didn't. It's still a top 10 pick. It's number 9. They're going to get themselves a quality player if they do keep it. And you mentioned a key word right there, Jimenez, options. The Spurs have so many options to shorten this rebuild, get an impact player immediately via trade, free agency, or package and move up and down the draft if they need to. Maybe flip some of the young players if it means getting in an established star. I mean, that's the point we're trying to get at here. It is going to be a good offseason. Michael, I've been saying this on Locked On Spurs. I think this offseason will be crucial for the Spurs and their rebuild plans. Can they shorten it? Do they want to prolong it a little longer? I just like that. And we can't forget, that money they got to spend in the offseason. They got a lot of money to spend. And Ayton is rumored to be, or the Spurs are rumored to be one of the major players for Ayton. Could he address the Spurs' need for a big? We will see, but we're done talking. We want to hear from you. Are you okay with the Spurs getting number 9? Or are you flipping tables left and right and breaking your TV when the Spurs logo flashed on your TV screen? Jimenez, tell us about halftime. What can we be looking forward to on today's halftime show over at San Antonio Sports Star?
Oh, it's Movie Review Wednesday. So
oh, no.
I absolutely love that.
Oh, no. What movie you got up this time?
Menace to Society.
Okay, this will be interesting. Okay, I'm going to reserve comments. So, yeah. But go ahead. Tell us more about halftime.
Okay, well, halftime, sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. We have a fun time on there. It's basically an upbeat show, okay? It's a getaway. It's during your lunch break, more than likely. And we talk about things that are fun. Obviously, we talk a lot about sports, but also pop culture references. We like talking about music, streaming, obviously some movies as well. It's a fun show. I get to play with Rudy J on Wednesdays. I hang out with Carolina Teague on Tuesdays. James Fledger hangs out with me on Mondays and Thursdays. Fridays, I fly solo. It's a fun time. We give away a lot of prizes. We have a lot of great callers, and I absolutely love the listeners. It's a good show. I'm having fun with it. It's getting better and better as the months go by. It's starting to fine-tune it. But all in all, man, it's been a blast doing halftime from 12 to 2, Monday through Friday on San Antonio Sports Star. And also, free content. We're doing articles and columns by myself, Rudy J, Rob Thompson, Minix, Ryan Nagel. We're giving away free content on sasportstar.com, so it's beyond what we're doing on the radio. So it's fun times.
You definitely want to follow Jimenez on Twitter at MikeESPNSA because he definitely loves to stir the pot. That's something you're really, really good at, Jimenez. You love to rile up the fan base.
I am who I am, man, and I never put a post out there or a tweet out there in a contrived way where I think to myself, I'm trying to get a reaction. Just is who I am. That's just who I am. And sometimes I piss people off, and some people love it. I mean, this week,
get out.
This week, 4-word tweet: Tony Parker, greater than symbol, Chris Paul. That caught like wildfire.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? That's how I do feel. Tony Parker is the most disrespected Spur of all time. Underappreciated Spur of all time.
I agree with. Yep. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I think Parker definitely gets lost in the shuffle when you're thinking about Spurs all-time great. But hey, I'm also looking forward to halftime because I will be joining Jimenez's show later on today. But at least by the time you're listening to this, I'll be on in just a few short hours. But thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Now make your second listen be Locked On NBA. From the first jump ball of the play-in tournament to the last possession of the finals, Locked On experts take you deep inside the playoffs with insight and analysis affecting all 30 teams. Jimenez, again, thank you for joining Locked On Spurs. And by the way, Pledger was going to come on today, but apparently we did him a favor because he has a long workday today, and he graciously let you take the seat today.
Oh, dude, I'm always available for you, baby. Always available. Love Locked On.
Go enjoy your walk, Jimenez. Shed those pounds. Because I'm right there with you, man. If I was there with you right now, I'd be walking. Are you in a track right now or are you in the neighborhood?
No, just walking up and down the hills of my neighborhood. Very steep, but I will let you know, on this lockdown, I did over 1.5 miles. So not bad.
Not bad, man. What are you, speed walking?
Just speed walking up and down the hills. I usually do a 3-mile jog around now, but
and it's hot in San Antonio,
I had to slow it down because I couldn't do Locked On while running.
And you're probably sweating and shedding the pounds because it is hot in San Antonio right now. But again, he is Michael Jimenez. I am Jeff Garcia. We're gonna put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.